Hi, everybody. I thought I'd come to you. Caleb B. and I just did our second discussion with each other. We were talking about more heavenly signs that occur after September 23rd. Most of you are familiar with Revelation 12 sign, the great sign that covers verses 1 and 2. But we thought we'd go back and cover the full thing, in particular, what happens after that time. So with Revelation 12, verses 3 through 5, covering verses 1 through 5 in what's going on in the heavens. And in fact, God does have his timeline in the sky, and you can see his handiworks all throughout heaven. And I thought I'd show you a few of those before I get into Caleb and I's discussion. So take care and have a blessed week.
Okay, so I'm with Carla, aka ecrusymphony. What's going on, Carla?
I'm doing pretty good, Caleb. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna show everybody on YouTube what we're seeing in Stellarium, and this is what everybody is seeing in Stellarium. But why are they not, concentrating on certain things that we are? Why are things? Does it seem like is in the dark? There's not any videos made about it. People are jumping over verses and stuff. So let's give them a presentation real quick of what's really going on.
Right. So, as many of you know, some of you have heard that on September 9th, I have it on September 1st, that Jupiter is born. So you can see here's Jupiter right here in the constellation Virgo. And then I'll zoom in. This little square region here, this trapezoid, is the belly, considered the belly of Virgo. And then this line here between Spica and this star is the birth canal.
Right. So and then real quick, like for some people, they just look at the cartoon and they just see the girl there. But what we're really looking at is the lines. So,
right.
That's the constellation.
Right.
And Jupiter is inside the belly of those lines.
Right. And so I'm on September 1st. So like if I move it up, let me put it on Jupiter, and then I'll follow it. So now I'm on September 3rd. But if you move up each day, so I'm on September 7th now, you see it's still inside that line, which is the birth canal. But then on September 8th, it's right on that line. And then September 9th, it's outside of that line. That's why we say that Jupiter is born on September 9th.
Right. Now, let's just get this out of the way real quick right off the gate. Jupiter is never born on September 23rd.
No, that's correct.
This is the only time that this baby comes out of the constellation. Well, there's another time, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I'd like to remind folks that the baby can't get caught up and go to the throne if their argument is that September 23rd is the Feast of Trumpets and the last trumpet blows on that day, and since we go at the last trump, then we would go on that day of September 23rd, but we see the baby is leaving the constellation before the 23rd has even arrived.
Right.
Or excuse me, before the last trumpet has blown, according to
right. Right. And then, but people cite Isaiah 66:7, which is, before she travailed, she gave birth, which is, so it's before September 23rd. So.
Right. So we're getting, and we're gonna get into this really good. So people are gonna really, really get the whole nine right here.
Right. So now I'm going to advance to September 23rd. So it's moving over in time. Let me get it back. And then let me zoom out so that we can see Leo and Virgo. So you now have, let me move this over out the way. So now we're on September 23rd, and Jupiter is clearly outside the birth canal. And then you have the sun clothing the woman, the moon at her feet. And then you have the 9 stars in Leo, and then the 3 other planets that makes the 12 stars that crowns her head, you know. Mm-hmm. So, but Jupiter has already been born 2 weeks earlier.
On the 9th of September.
Right.
And we notice here on September 23rd that it has not yet been caught up to the throne yet.
Right. And my thing is, because we use Isaiah 66, 7, that, you know, before she, you know, was in pain, she delivered. So I don't feel like it's completely meeting Revelation 12 because she didn't travail, you know, because that's not actually what it says in Isaiah 66. You know, it says, you know, before she delivered, you know, she didn't travail, you know. I'm kind of paraphrasing it, but
yeah, she brought forth a child before she could. Who would have ever imagined a nation, becoming a nation, or in one day or something.
But there's no mention of travailing in that verse whatsoever.
Right, and now what the focus, the big September 23rd, you know, noise is all about is this is the day, September 23rd, where she has the moon at her feet, the sun, she's draped in the sun, and she has the 12 stars in the Lion and Leo constellation, her crown. And this is where the verse starts off at. It starts off right here. I know there was a sign in heaven, a woman draped in the sun with the moon at her feet with 12 stars. So what we're seeing right now is the beginning of the Revelation 12 verse.
Right. So this only fulfills Revelation 12 verses 1 and 2.
Boom. Done.
That's it.
That's it. We are looking at Revelation 12 verse 1 and 2 right here on September 23rd.
Right. I believe it's a great sign, but I think it's just a sign that's telling you that we're going into tribulation or great tribulation, and that Christ's soon second coming is within this generation or the tribulation time period. And for me, that's all it means, and that is a great sign.
It's the greatest sign. You know, there's no one could take anything away from this sign. It's marvelous. It's fantastic. It is the Revelation 12 sign. But the point is, the verse keeps going. The scripture continues with the story, and we can see the different days taking place of the rest of the story. And if they want a rapture, well, then we're going to have to keep scrolling through Stellarium and find it for them, right? And we can find the dragon sweeping the tail. So, like, I guess the point that I'm trying to drive home to people is they're only listening to a lot of the Revelation 12 channels out there who are only giving them half of the truth, if you will, or half of the skinny, and they're not really. And I think it's probably because a lot of people can't even handle it. They don't even really understand what they got in front of them to begin with. And then the rest of them, I don't know, they don't want to go on Stellarium themselves. They'd rather take it from another, they put their trust in a lot of these people. But when we go through this, we can really actually dissect this whole sign, the whole scripture. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's very symbolic what you see in heaven. And a lot of people who are not familiar with Stellarium or hasn't gone through it in this detail, they don't see all the nuances from verse to verse. I mean, what it's playing out in heaven, verse per verse in Revelation 12. So, and we're seeing, of course, the great sign. Of course, Scotty Clark has talked about it, but this is only verses 1 and 2.
Scotty Clark discovered Revelation 12, verse 1 and 2. This is it. We're looking at it. Behold, there was a sign in heaven. A woman draped with the sun at her, the moon at her feet, draped in the sun with 12 stars. That is it. Absolutely. Right. But We are about
But
to.
then
We are about to.
there's another sign, you
There's
know.
another sign, and then there's more verses to this scripture. So let's go. Let's do it.
Right. So, only around Rosh Hashanah, Tishri 1, only at this time period, within a couple of days, the sun is clothing the woman. And then if you go a few days up in time, you see the sun is no longer clothing the woman. So now we're on Day of Atonement. So now the
September
sun
30th,
is,
Yom
right.
Kippur, the Day of
Yeah, so
Atonement.
now the sun is getting closer to standing before the woman, and the sun is now representing the dragon, So now we're into October 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and then here comes Mercury. Jupiter's still outside of the birth canal. And so then the, so on the 5th, let me move over here. So I want to look at, we talked about this, that Saturn, which represents Satan. Saturn is at the only portion of the leg within the Mazzaroth, or the zodiac, as many people commonly refer to it. This is the only portion that this constellation Ophiuchus dips into. This is the Milky Way, and this region right here between Scorpio and Sagittarius, where his leg goes, they actually say his foot is dipping in the pool of the Milky Way right here. This region here is called the throne of God.
Right, and let's stop right there, because it took me a very long time when I was like, okay, they're saying that the baby gets caught up to the throne. Well, where is the throne of God in Stellarium? Because I thought it was like the scales of Libra, right? So
right.
Everyone needs to know this, okay? Many people will come forth and tell you the same thing, and that is, this is the throne of God, this area.
Right. I mean, it's
according to the Mazzaroth.
Right, because see, it's not very far from the sensor aura, and so this is known. This is the Milky Way going right here, but this one area that he dips his leg into, the living waters is what they call it, is known as God's throne. So Saturn on October 5th is at God's throne. And then let me type it in just again to make sure we follow it. So then now, if you go advance that date and time, you see, I'm just going to move it up. You see Saturn is moving away from God's throne. So we were saying that's probably when Satan gets kicked out of heaven.
What I interpreted is it's the restrainer being removed right around this time, because we see the man holding the snake, restraining the serpent.
Right.
And that would be like you've mentioned it before too. A lot of people say that's Michael restraining the serpent, right?
Right. And I think it's,
and we see Satan. We see Satan, who has been there for a very long time. In fact, Satan's there the whole time Revelation 12 is going on. It's just chilling there for a very long time. This is the first time that Satan moves from out of that place, is in October 5th, I believe.
Yeah, October 5th, and then now I'm on Christmas Day.
Now you're on Christmas Day.
So it's in conjunction with Venus, and that's the moment in which it enters Sagittarius.
The rider on the white horse.
Right.
Who had a bow and a crown, and who went forth to conquer.
Right, to conquering and to conquer. So that's what's happening with Saturn from October 5th through Christmas Day, December 25th. And so now let's go back to looking at Jupiter back in Virgo.
And now remember, according to Paul in Thessalonians, the rapture of the church cannot take place until the restrainer is removed, the falling away takes place, and then the man of sin is revealed, right?
Right.
And then that even gets more technical, because it leads on that the man of sin is being revealed when he exalts himself as God above God, which is a mid-trib event. So it gets really technical there. But at least let's just stop right there and just say, okay, well, the restrainer. So we see the restrainer, which looks like the restrainer being removed. I mean, we could interpret that at October 5th, the restrainer is getting removed.
Yeah, so I believe either Michael or God's protective hand is removed in the heavenly realm, whereas on earth, we believe that it's the United States that's being removed as the earthly restrainer. So, and so now we're back on October 5th. And so now Jupiter's down here as it's always been, but now the sun or the dragon, the fiery dragon, red fiery dragon, is standing before the woman and her belly region. And here's Mercury now. Mercury now goes into the womb starting on October 8th. And so you see the dragon standing before not this child, but this child, Mercury.
Many people always thought that was Michael standing up to deliver Jupiter or what have you.
Well, I mean,
I was in that camp too. I thought, I always said that too.
Right, and then I'm gonna see if I can switch to this other. So on the 9th, the 8th and 9th, you have the sun just standing right before Mercury. And let me see if I can go to, yeah, here it is. So I don't know if you can see this, but on that same day, October 9th, you have the sun, the fiery dragon before Mercury. But here's that dragon anomaly that's in space. And it's also
that's the one being covered up by Google Sky. That dragon that has a black patch over it by Google Sky. But if that patch wasn't there, this is what we would see: the dragon standing before Jupiter.
Right, and it's also this is where that's low. And so it's funny that this dragon that's covered up by Google Sky is standing before Jupiter, while the sun, the other fiery dragon, is standing before Mercury.
But what's even more stranger is that on October 9th, we're experiencing a meteor shower coming from the Draconoid constellation.
Right, the Draconoid, which Draco means dragon. And so that's like the dragon casting 1/3 of the stars of heaven to the earth.
And in Revelation 12, we see that the dragon does cast the stars to the earth before the child is born.
Right, and it's all of these events, this sun, the dragon sun standing before Mercury, the dragon anomaly standing before Jupiter, and Draco, the dragon meteor shower, is all occurring on October 9th. All the same day.
Now what we look like there's a rapture coming up here that we think we let's just say because we're not pre-tribbers but this looks like a rapture. Show us what happens.
Right. And let me say real quick that people are like, well, why is Mercury? What does that mean? Why? But if you go look at Acts 14:12, it tells you that Barnabas is Mercury.
Let me pull it up on my phone.
Or Barnabas is Jupiter, I'm sorry. And Mercurius or Mercury is Paul.
What is it, Acts what?
14, verse 12. And it says it in the King James version of it.
Let me pull it up real quick on my phone. This is where it gets interesting. Right, look, it's 17 minutes we're in, and we want to make it short so we could fly through this. But look at Acts 14:12, and they called Barnabas Jupiter and Paul Mercurius,
right,
which is Mercury. Because he was a chief speaker.
Right, and so what's interesting is the dragon is standing before Jupiter, which is Barnabas, and also before Mercury, which is Paul.
And Paul is the disciple, or what is he? The person who represents the Gentiles. He represents the Gentiles, the church. This is now according to the pre-trib doctrine. We're to listen to Paul because he is the preacher of the Gentiles. That's what I've always heard. and
Right.
that whole tribulation's for the Jews, and we are to listen to Paul. But here's Paul right here, Mercury.
Right. And so now Mercury is in the womb of the woman at this time. And like you said, this is the same date
October
that
9th.
you can't see that dragon anomaly. I had to put that in because but that's where it would be right here. That would be right here. And then the Draco meteor shower is going on. And that all sounds like Revelation 12, verse 4.
The dragon casting a third of the stars to the earth.
Right. And he stood before the woman who was ready to give birth. And in that case, it's no longer Jupiter.
It's
Mercury. Now Mercury. And so now I'm going to move it up. So now Mercury is born, see, on October 13th. Let me go back one day. So it's inside the womb on the 12th. And on the 13th, it's born. It's born.
Did you know, and like I told you, my coworker told me that there is another asteroid doing a near flyby to the Earth on October 12th as well?
It's it's October 12th near midnight Pacific Standard Time, and then it's like 1:07 a.m. Mountain Standard, or I'm sorry, 7 minutes after midnight on October 13th Mountain Standard Time, and then 1:07 Central Standard Time. So I think.
Wait, you know what? Well, Carla, you know what? Also, real quick, just due to time, because of time. Now, Jupiter never went and got caught up to the throne, did it?
No,
but Mercury is actually about to get caught up to the throne.
Right, and I'm gonna show that real quick. So now this child is born
on October 13th.
And if you read in Revelation 12, you see that the child and the man-child are two different Greek words in the Strong's Concordance. I would say just look that up and you'll notice that there's two. But the child that's caught up to the throne is Mercury, which is Paul. Right. So let me go ahead and okay, now we're watching Mercury.
All of a sudden they're just jamming.
Right. Let me move this up a little bit. So now we're into November. And okay, and then it's going to, there it is, the leg region right here in the Milky Way is the throne of God, and Mercury keeps going, and then it loops back, and interestingly enough, here's Mercury. Let me go back a day. So December 12th. Not only is Mercury at the throne of God, but the sun, representing probably the Son Jesus Christ.
Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Go to December 10th real quick.
Okay.
Just click 2 days back. I want to see if Mercury.
So okay. let me zoom it. Let me move the hours where you can. Okay, so
Mercury is in the throne. Also, am I correct?
Yeah. So it's almost at that branch right here.
Okay. It's not quite in the throne, but here's where I'm trying to drive home. This would be the 75-day mark. This would be day 1335.
It is day 1335.
If you excuse me, December 10th is day 1335. Okay, if we calculate from the blood moon tetrad of 2014, and we go into Revelation 12 being September 23rd being the 1260th day, which actually is 1257, and we're going to talk about that in another video, the 3 days of darkness.
Right.
But then it says, Daniel, right? Blessed are those who wait the 1335 days or make it to the 13th. Well, this would be the 1335 days right here, and the child is caught up to the throne.
And I think that is in fulfillment of Revelation 12 verses 5, where the child was caught up to God into his throne, and here's the throne. And actually, so if you move, so Saturn is moving out down here towards Sagittarius. The child is right at the throne. Let me go up just a day or two. And then you have the sun meeting the child all at God's throne in heaven.
And what are the rapture?
And I'll zoom out. And then so Saturn is going into Sagittarius.
And what are the rapture requirements? First must come, the restrainer must be removed. then a falling away, then the man of sin revealed. And what do we have here? We have the restrainer that was moved on October 5th. We had the man-child born on October 13th. We had the meteor shower October 7th through the 9th. And then we have Sagittarius, the rider on the white horse.
Yeah, we have that asteroid on the same day that Mercury is born, early morning of October, wee early hours of October 13th, and that's when that asteroid, what is it, 2012 TC4 is coming. So I don't know. It looks like the child is
But you have Satan entering the Sagittarius rider on the white horse, fulfilling Paul's requirements of a rapture.
Right.
All the elements that Paul said must happen, which was, hey, first you got to have this, then you got to have that, and then you got to have this. Let no man deceive you. That day will not come until first comes this, and this, and it's all here now. But look how far we are in Stellarium. We're in December, aren't we?
Right. So this is December 12th, 2017, and Saturn is entering Sagittarius. But watch, I'm just going to move it up per year. So now we're 2018, Saturn's still in Sagittarius. 2019, Saturn's still in Sagittarius. 2020, it's just now going to, once it is in conjunction with Jupiter, which would be, let me move it up a few days. There's the conjunction right there. So on December 20th of 2020, Satan spends 3 years in Sagittarius and then goes into the two-horned goat sea creature, which you could say is the beast from the sea, essentially.
The beast who had horns like a lamb and spoketh as a dragon.
Right.
Revelation 13, I believe. So there's your second beast.
Right.
And then if you might as well just keep going. We can see the bowls if you want to go into 2024.
Let's see, I think I can.
Well, no, you just scoot it. Just scoot Stellarium to the right, and you'll see.
I think I have to move the days over.
There he is.
And
There's Aquarius pouring out the bowls of wrath right there.
Right, and I mean, it's all occurring in this whole story of Revelation, verses 1 through 5, which is coming up on us between September 9th, but in particular September 23rd, the great sign of the woman, through October 13th is fulfillment of verses 1 through 5 in chapter 12.
Oh, so Carla, I think the most important, that's too bad this is 26 minutes deep. No one's going to hear this probably unless they stuck around. But you made a great point earlier, and that was they read you Revelation 12 and they say they skip the verses, don't they? They go, they read you verse 1 and 2. There was a sign in the heaven, a woman with the moon at her feet, and shaped in the cloud with 12 stars of the crown.
Right.
And then they don't talk about the dragon casting a star.
And then they go to verse 5, and then the child was caught up to God into his throne. And
they skip the dragon and the stars getting onto the earth.
Right.
And what is going on here? I mean, and we agree these people are not demonic; they're just deceived. It's a difference. They don't mean to kill the church. They just don't believe anything.
I mean, I believe the fact that Draco, which is the dragon, Draco means dragon, meteor shower is occurring on the same day that Mercury entered, or the sun standing before the child Mercury, all on October 9th. That's got to be fulfilling that Revelation 12 verses 4. And then the next verse is the child is caught up to God into the throne. And that starts on October 13th.
And the meteor shower done happened on October 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Right, but that's the same day that the asteroid, that 2012 TC4, is passing by the Earth. Now, they say it's going to be a near miss and that it's going to safely pass by, but I have to question that because all of these things, and because that's the same day that Mercury, Representative Paul, the Gentiles, That's the same day on October 13th, the child is born and caught up to God in his throne.
Yeah, so we can see that this is a long story being told in a short paragraph, and everything is being done in different increments of time. So like when you read that verse, it's not all happening in one day. The people don't understand that. They think it all happens on September 23rd.
Right.
And what they need to realize is that constellation is a moving piece of parts and machinery that's in constant rotation, constant movement, and these verses are happening on different days. So they're correct. September 23rd is the day where the moon's at the feet, draped in the sun with a crown with 12 stars in the crown. Hey, bingo, you nailed it. But guess what? Story keeps going, doesn't it? More things to come, folks, and those are on different days, including the child getting caught up to the throne. That will not happen on September 23rd. Absolutely not.
Yeah, so we're talking about it's like a 23, 24 day, let's see, from September 23rd to October 13th, basically, what is that, 23 days? Not that one day, but 23 days,
Are we setting a new rapture date?
I would say for me personally,
I'm going to say hell no right now.
No, yeah, I mean, I think I want to see what happens, especially after, as you know, I'm not a pre-tribber, after September 23rd. And so this is the God's gospel in the sky. So it doesn't just stop with verses 1 and 2. You
Right.
know.
It looks hopeful. It looks like there is a rapture in October, which is not that far from September. It's right after the Day of Atonement. That's another thing these folks don't really take into consideration.
Yeah, I
is
mean,
the 10 days of Av, the Day of Atonement, having your name written in the book, like Daniel. They're not very familiar with Daniel 12. A lot of these people, they just don't know a lot of the other scriptures that we're required to know. If you want to know when the rapture takes place, you got to know these other scriptures and verses because they lock in, don't they, Carla? They all lock and snap in.
Yeah.
And that's how we know undoubtedly when the rapture happens. It's after it's in great tribulation, isn't it?
Right. So we're in great tribulation, and so I mean,
well, we'll be.
Like you say,
we're not in it now, Carla. Don't that you just said we're in it now. We're not in it now.
No. Like what I mean is from the period of this sign on September 23rd to the 1,335th day on December 10th. That's the blessed day, and it in fact shows that Mercury, Representative Paul, the Gentiles or the church, is at the throne of God at that time. So
we're at 32 minutes. What do you want to do?
Well, why don't we call it quits? I think that covers everything pretty much. And so
we'll get them on the next video.
I think we're good. Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.